What is up, guys? This is your friendly neighborhood random movie guy here with another random trailer review. And today is your lucky day because you're getting a 3-for-1 special. I'm going to be running through all three of the Spider-Man Homecoming trailers, the teaser, the US, and the international version. Let's do this. Picking up from where Civil War started, this new version of Spider-Man is paying a lot of homage to the original 1962 Spider-Man by Steve Ditko. This time, we've got the web wings, which were introduced with the very first version of Spider-Man in 1962, which was later dropped in 1966 for the classic look that we all know and love today. Now, we're living in an age where we want our comic books to be based in some form of reality. This is why The Dark Knight is one of the classic all-time greatest comic book movies of all time. That scene in Hong Kong where he's like gliding with the bat wings is out of this world. It looked absolutely real. And even using the skyhook, which is an actual thing that the military use, just adds to the realism of the movie. So it makes sense that Spider-Man is going to do the same thing. There's obvious comparisons with wingsuits, and here's a little clip of some dude in a wingsuit flying through some skyscrapers. Probably something similar to what we're actually going to see in the movie. Now, something that you probably didn't know is that spiders can actually do this. Check this out. This little fella here is known as the Silenops spider, also known as the flying spider. It's located in South America, and he uses his front two legs to direct itself in midair to effectively glide from tree to tree. This ability to glide is going to be really useful against his villain, the Vulture, played by the original Batman and Birdman, Michael Keaton. Now, not much is known about the character, but one thing we can see from the trailer is what he's wearing. He's wearing an aviator pilot's jacket with the whole furry thing around his neck. Now, not only is that a little bit of a nod to the original Vulture costume, it might actually be a hint to where this character's come from. It's pretty safe to say that he was definitely a pilot before he became the Vulture. What sort of pilot? Military? Commercial? Who knows? I'm leaning towards him being a military pilot because of the way he's able to handle weaponry in mid-flight. Speaking of weaponry, the blasts coming out of that plasma rifle thing he carries around look a lot like the Chitauri weaponry from the first Avengers movie. And another place we see similar sort of weaponry is at the beginning of the US trailer, where those bank robbers are using that weapon to break through all the safes and whatnot. We already know that the Vulture's flight suit is reverse engineered from Chitauri tech, so it's pretty safe to say that these robbers and the Vulture have some sort of connection. All the bank robbery clips look great. It's the perfect way of presenting this new Spider-Man as the witty, quipping superhero that Spider-Man has always been, and it's something that the Andrew Garfield version of Spider-Man, at least in my opinion, nailed down to a T. The four masks used by the robbers not only are members of the Avengers, but are actually the four characters that had solo movies in Phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I'm 99% sure that one of these bank robbers, probably the guy in the Iron Man mask, is Shocker, the second villain in the movie. We see Shocker talking to the Vulture in the international trailer, and I think he's got a similar build to the guy in the Iron Man mask. The US trailer is distinctly different from the international trailer in that it focuses more on the teen drama that's facing Peter Parker in his school life over action set pieces. And when you look at the teaser trailer as well, with the whole vlogging aspect of it, Peter Parker is very much a child of today. We're going to see him go through all those things that teens go through in high school. In fact, this movie is part of a trilogy that will all be based around him in high school. Two fun Easter eggs that you probably didn't catch are the pictures of Howard Stark and Bruce Banner on the walls of the schools, which leads me to believe that this school is probably not your average high school. Maybe this is some special school for gifted children. And so, to add to the whole teen angst element, we're probably going to get elements of the New Kid storylines with Peter Parker. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is all Tony Stark's doing to help Peter Parker advance his knowledge. Speaking of Tony Stark, that whole awkward scene with them two in the car was quite fun, where he goes to open the door and Peter thinks he's hugging him. It's very Tony Stark. But what that scene also says to me is that we are going to carry on a lot of themes from Civil War over to this movie. One of those themes being Tony Stark's daddy issues, and the second being the Sokovia Accords. I'll leave the stuff about the Sokovia Accord towards the end, so make sure you wait until then, because I've got a really juicy theory that I've not really seen anyone else address. Fans of the Miles Morales version of Spider-Man might recognise Peter's friend here as Tonk, and this friend catches Peter Parker as Spider-Man on the ceiling, which is great. Another little Easter egg for you. That toy he drops and smashes into loads of pieces, that's a Lego toy of the Death Star from Rogue One, which ties in again with Civil War, where Spider-Man does that reference about the Empire Strikes Back, and we actually see Peter Parker looking at that scene on his laptop while he's in class. Now, about the Sokovia Accords, Peter Parker is most definitely on that list. Now, even though Tony Stark says that he's not an Avenger, he's still going to be a person of interest. And with Steve Rogers and co all breaking out of prison, I'm sure the people enforcing the Sokovia Accords will want to be extra careful about any superheroes that they still have contact with. And in the comic book version of Civil War, we know that Spider-Man has a central role to play in that storyline, in that he's conflicted about whose side to be on, with Tony Stark or with Steve Rogers. He initially sides with Tony Stark, but then later changes his mind and teams up with Captain America. Right at the end of Civil War, there was an after credit scene with Peter Parker and the Watch. Now there's something really interesting about this scene, so I'm just going to play it for you now and then I'm going to come back and just explain what my theory is.
Who hit you?
Some guy. Switching that guy.
What's some guy's name?
Steve.
Steve? Comes well, Steve?
Part of that scene that really made me think is the part where he says, "This is really itchy," and you can clearly see he's struggling to try and scratch that itch, which makes me think, can he actually take that thing off? So here's my theory. I think that Spider Watch was given to him by Tony Stark and doubles up as an ankle bracelet like the ones that you give to criminals who come out of prison. That way the people who are enforcing the Sokovia Accords can keep a tab on where he is, and this will explain why Peter Parker says that bit where he says, why they treat me like a kid. I'm going to take a wild guess and assume that last scene where Iron Man is flying alongside Spider-Man, Tony Stark stopping Peter Parker from taking on the Vulture or the Shocker, i.e. stopping him from being Spider-Man, which leads nicely into a whole
Remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
and would lead to Peter Parker ripping off the watch and doing what he has to do, breaking the Sokovia Accords. And this will explain why the police in the helicopter are actually shooting at Peter Parker, because the whole world more or less knows that he is friends with the Avengers. So I just want to talk about this scene here. Now, it looks like it's on a beach, and you can see a fairground right in the back, so it might be like a pier. This could be Peter Parker going on a date with either Zendaya or the other one, and it all kind of goes wrong, and then the only suit he's got is the old suit that he's wearing. The other theory is that this could be maybe the last fight scene. So rather than go with the classic Spider-Man look, he reverts back to his own homemade spider suit, i.e. go back to his roots. And possibly because of breaking the Sokovia Accords, he may not have the support of Tony Stark and whatnot. And if you look at his face here, he is really battered. You don't see him like that anywhere else in the trailer. So it leads me to believe that this probably is a final battle. What makes it really interesting is, being that it's on a beach, he's got no tall buildings or anything to basically swing around, which means that he's at a serious disadvantage, which in my opinion would make for a great epic end fight scene. So yeah, you can see him hanging here, holding onto the two parts of the tanker, and this really demonstrates how strong this character really is. So there it is. What did you guys think? Did I miss anything out? What do you think of my theory? Let me know down in the comments down below, and if you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm coming out with videos at least a couple of times a week, and there's loads of trailers coming out. Next one probably is going to be the War of the Planet of the Apes trailer. Anyway, till the next video, take care.